before this, but the one I took last night fucking wrecked me. So this story is, this story, I feel like there's too much shit going on to be like relatively sober for, but wicked high is just out of the question because there's too much to talk about. Yeah,
it's just so confusing as well.
That before, like, I know you're recording right now, but there was so that last thing I sent in WhatsApp, that dude is a video analyst, and he goes over like the UFO, all new UFO footage. He goes all over it and fucking scans the shit up, and he's like, "That's fake." That's it. He's done one on the Tesla truck to see if the body is moving inside the truck before.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
What did he say?
Though, he goes, "This is an iPhone recording of a CCTV camera on a computer screen, then transferred onto Twitter, so it won't be bad." It's like, this is 5 layers of compression. It doesn't make it, but you can see a slight bit of moving in that pixel there, so maybe he was alive.
What happens when it comes to it? In the thing, maybe they did. So in the back there is a light brown jacket. Cool story.
Without the first, we definitely won't be the last. We'd like to welcome you. Not another conspiracy.
I think, I don't really want to tell everyone what I think straight away.
Good. No, right, I'm going to get docked.
Because you're a huge skeptic all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, I think it's the reason we haven't been able to do an episode.
Don't believe in anything.
I don't believe anything.
Don't believe in anything.
Not anymore. This podcast has turned me into a massive skeptic because we've just been down so many rabbit holes that now nothing is real. Nothing is real. Everything is a psyop, or everything is made out to be a psyop.
Yeah. And it's so well done that you're like, well, is it a psyop or isn't it a psyop? Because it's too good on both ends at this point.
Will they, won't they? That's what I say.
Yeah. Did they, didn't they? Should have, would have, could have.
Shall I intro?
Yes. Yeah,
well, this is the first, not another conspiracy podcast in over a year.
Over a year? Oh.
Over a year.
I thought it was at least 8 months, 9 months.
It's over a year. August 2024, I think. 23 was the last one we did one. I think.
What was it? Hold on, let me get.
It was something about aliens. Probably we already do aliens now.
Yeah, probably. Let me
something about aliens.
It was Are Aliens Real? The Great UAP and Alien Disclosure Debate. Oh right, yeah, of course. It was the whole David Grush testimony, the first congressional.
We did like 3 episodes of Grush in like over 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Well, that was
it's still going on.
Yeah, that was better than doing a lot of true crime that we then got into. But at the moment, it seems to be the talk at the moment. Disclosure, it's the biggest thing, and we've had
and nothing's been disclosed.
Well, yes, it has. The special.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, it has. Immaculate Constellation was disclosed. The name of it.
Oh, that's not real. That's the thing.
You're already playing devil's advocate, and we ain't even.
Do you know the new Spider-Man film's been revealed? Well, the name has.
Spider-Man 6.
Spider-Man, another one. So it's like they've not gone. Here's Gorlak from 7 Sons That Way. We revealed him. Reveal yourself, Gorlak.
There he is.
He's come out.
That's the third time that the word Gorlak's been said to me today. It's been said. Really? My friend just bought a new dog, and he's asking for name suggestions, and someone said Gorlak. I don't even know what that is.
It's in the group in collective unconscious. That is Gorlak.
What is it though?
So yeah, where did Gorlak come from? Oh, it's just
no idea.
You pulled it. Oh right, I thought it would have been something that
it was an alien that got revealed very recently. Disclosure. When they were disclosing all those aliens, Gorlak was one of them.
Isn't Gorlak that entity that Stephen Greer says like appears at his manifestation like outings or whatever?
Probably. Probably. I think it's, isn't it? I think it might be something from Rick and Morty.
Gorlak.
I think it might.
Maybe.
Oh, actually, you know what it's from? Gorlak the Destroyer is that. No, that's Gorlock the Destroyer. Is that fat woman there? That's on all the podcasts. Gorlak. Oh, Gorlak is just a. It's just a generic.
Now.
I have no idea what
I know what you're on about now.
Mate, you'll know. You'll know when I say Gorlak.
I'd rate myself.
It's.
Gorlak.
They don't necessarily have. Yeah, but
at first I thought Gorlak was who's the Satanist that seems to have his finger in every single pie. You brought him up, JJ, years ago. Well, I say years ago, but
Anton LaVey. No, Aleister Crowley.
That's Aleister Crowley. That's it. Well, that's
Crowley,
what I first thought. The Gorlak was the entity that he said he would communicate with, or something.
What a crock of shit!
Oh no, I didn't believe it.
I actually went on a Beatles tour with my mum in Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, and the guy right near the end said, "Does anyone have any questions?" Of course, I piped up.
Excuse me, where did the call actually go?
The rest of the people on the tour were absolutely mortified. Just loads of Australians.
What did you ask?
I was like, "So, what do you think? Is Paul really dead?" And he came downstairs with his microphone. It was just me and my mum and Santa Claus driving the bus. And he sat and talked with me for about 20 minutes while the rest of these tourists upstairs didn't have a fucking clue what we were talking about.
Did he have the microphone when he was talking to you?
Yeah. And they were just like...
Well, actually, I don't think he is dead. Paul's actually alive.
He had the microphone the entire time. And then he went upstairs and went, "Oh, sorry, guys, I don't know if you heard any of that." And then repeated it all. Completely.
And if you want to know more, you should check out Not Another Conspiracy Podcast.
It was very good. I gave him the podcast.
It drives into his head.
This is a crotch shot there, JJ. Or you?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get this camera sorted because it's partly one of the reasons I bought it.
Back to the intro.
Yeah.
We have in Michigan, Mr. Dean Salter.
Hello, everyone.
And in York, with his little Osmo that doesn't work and his short hair. He's got no hair anymore. Cut it all off. That's what happens when you're a dad. You have to cut your hair. Yeah. And then, JJ in York.
Aye.
And in Southend on Sea, the old Benjamin Mills, the one and only.
The old.
I'm 40 this year.
We actually did a thing and got back together and decided to. Well, we can't really because this right now seems to be everywhere, all over the news, and you can't seem to not find someone talking about it. Here.
This is brilliant. Not another conspiracy fodder. This is perfect for us because everyone's done all the hard work for us, and we just have to repeat it. But with
now AI is really good.
Yeah. Now AI is brilliant. We don't have to write scripts anymore. We just go, right, here's the stuff. Here's our podcast. Tell us how we should speak about it.
There is no one's really uncovering anything particularly new at the moment. Everybody is just regurgitating points of views and stuff. But it obviously is, it's like the best way to find something out is to obviously discuss it and see what avenues it can take you down, because I'm going to just go out straight from here. This is too much like a movie plot, in my opinion. It's either one, we are in a simulation, two,
we just run out of ideas.
Two,
just like Hollywood.
We're experiencing a PSYOP that I don't know if it is a PSYOP, it's a fucking very obvious one. Or two, we happen to have another whistleblower that's either alive out there or is dead, or
just got him quick, just bang.
Yeah, or who the hell knows? If you're wondering what we're talking about, though, everybody listening, we're talking about Matt Livelsberger, I believe is
Livelsberger, yeah.
Livelsberger, ironically, was stationed
Or
in Germany.
if you remember the History Channel's like best army man competition from like 2012, Matt Berg.
Yeah, Matt Berg. And apparently they smashed that as well, didn't they? Because the dude, he was with
Special Army Soldiers.
Yeah, Green Beret. So, as probably everybody has heard, there was a bombing outside a Trump Tower in Las Vegas by this alleged Matt Livelsberger, who rented a Cybertruck, parked it outside the front.
On Truro.
Yeah,
you have to say, if you get, this is how everyone has reported this news thing. He rented the Cybertruck on Truro, a car rental web app. Like every time about Truro probably going, please just say he rented it. Just say he rented it. Please stop saying the name of the app.
We know
Please
you're
stop saying our name. This is not good.
Stop
saying the name of our app. We don't want it.
We know you're a capitalist country, but for dear fucking Lord, I don't think the app is of any like.
Well, I think the app will probably go, this is bad PR. You know, this national news good. It's bad PR. This is bad PR. You can apparently terrorists are renting cars from us now.
Some CEOs sitting there like that, just for the whole.
Stop saying the name of the app. Please stop saying.
I did also notice there was a lot of people focusing on the fact that he was wearing the firework brand T-shirt when he was going. They were just like, not only did he use this car rental service, he also used this brand of fireworks. And I don't know if you noticed, he's driving the new Cybertruck.
They also gave him a shirt with brand on there. Just, fucking hell, you're fine. What's going on here? Oh, no.
Has anyone looked into Elon Musk possibly owning the firework company and the car rental app?
Yeah, there was another bit they were going to go, this Tesla charging point next to a Carl's Jr. What's that matter?
It's like Demolition Man, where they just try and get as many brands in as possible.
I rewatched Demolition Man recently, and that has not aged well.
Is it not?
It's not. Bullock still looks absolutely phenomenal, but it's like, there's some dialogue in that is really like,
isn't that the point? Isn't that meant to be the point?
I don't know. Maybe not. If that is the case, they didn't deliver it properly. But anyway, yes, Cybertruck got blown up outside Trump Tower. Message, terrorist attack, PSYOP, or someone that just really wanted to get a message out and is also potentially still alive.
There's two potential notes.
Yes, so this is what
the first one is the official one that was found on the police found on his phone, and they managed to get into his phone, which is
why is it when these things go off, like mass explosions, fires and stuff, why is it that these passports and military cards or whatever and mobile devices all seem to survive no matter what?
Yeah, but the Desert Eagle gets half incinerated and the body is a complete, you can't get any DNA off the body.
Yeah. So we'll get into those little bits here and there, but I think first and foremost we'll start with both the alleged manifestos, if that's what you wish to call them, or confessions.
I would say one's a suicide note and the other one is a manifesto.
Yeah, manifesto. So we'll start.
Or is it? Or is it?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Or is it anything? Or is it just a fucking email?
We'll start with the mainstream media's one, and then we'll move on to the alleged one that was sent to Sam Shoemate, I believe his name, that was also read out onto the Sean Bryan show. So
which I listened to that show last night. I like the Sean Ryan show, right? I like it. But after I listened to that one, I listened to an episode of Sean Ryan show, and I can tell you, I need to read out the name of it because I don't know why I listened to this episode, but I did. It was Sean Ryan show episode. It was the Christmas Day episode. Episode 152. Lee Strobel. Who is Jesus Christ, the Son of God? From the Sean Ryan show. I don't know why I listened to it because I listened to it again when I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, put it back on. I didn't realize how much Sean Ryan loved God.
Well, so he's now a born again Christian of 2 years.
He's read the Bible, and he doesn't think there's any other truer text ever been written.
Have you have you two watched the Exorcist episode?
No. What? The Sean Ryan one?
So good.
That's going on. It's going on.
So there's an
Sean Ryan, he
Exorcist.
does have good episodes, but
There's an Exorcist on it who basically says, Sean Ryan goes, "So, how do you know if they're truly possessed?" And he says, well, I've got this trick. He blesses his water cooler, and the first thing he does is offer them a drink.
He repeats the ending of the thing.
And I was just like, so now everyone knows how to cheat the system. And he went, aha, no, I have another system. And he offers them this like thing in this Eucharist or whatever that is. And he gives them it. And he says, I give them it. And if they react badly, I know they're lying because that hasn't been blessed.
Oh. He's got placebo. He's just placebo affecting demons.
Oh, so good. Honestly, I was in the gym absolutely howling.
You're not possessed. I tricked you with my watercolor swappy do.
So good. It is really good.
Which one is the best?
Which one's...
You have to watch the YouTube version to see that.
That episode is probably one of the best ones I've ever watched in my life. I was just sat in the gym, just howling, like literally laughing my head off, noise cancelling headphones, and one of them fell out, and I was just like, so good.
Anyway, Sean Ryan podcast is mostly good.
Right. Before people,
I just feel like we should be handing over some gummies, like
some gummies and some Black Rifle coffee.
Here's a phone, unplugged phone.
Yeah,
I was like, that's $1,000. Just giving it all.
Before we go any further, I've got to give you a gift. We give every one of our guests a gift. It's like put some enthusiasm into it.
That's very good. Very good.
That was a good impression. Very good impression.
Very good.
Anyway, right. Manifesto. Media manifesto.
No, this is not a manifesto. This is a suicide note.
Suicide note that was recovered from his very blown up car and phone inside it. Anyway, this was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. So what better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Fellow servicemen, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up in capitals. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. I never knew he was a Father Ted fan.
Fucking useless. That'd be an economical matter.
We are the United States of America, the best country to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. Why did I personally do it now? I needed to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost to relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. Thankfully, we rejected the DEI candidate and will have a real president instead of weekend at Bernie's. Military and vets, move on DC starting now. Militias facilitate and augment this activity. Occupy every major road along Fed buildings and the campus of Fed buildings by the hundreds of thousands. Lock the highways around down with semis right after everybody gets in. Hold until the purge is complete. Americans only pay attention to spectacles of violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? So
I don't believe that was written by a human being.
I do not believe that was written by a normal. Yeah, I don't. That has all the hallmarkings of this. Let's paint a picture of a patriot soldier, Green Beret, and American
who loves America, but he's just a bit pissed off with the government, but he loves America.
But let's also make him sound like an absolute delinquent that can barely string sentences together because it has to be a weekend at Bernie's. Down with this DEI candidate. Do you know, it's just all typical right-wing rhetoric, which is, from what we've heard, he wasn't in any way, shape or form that kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's what we've
heard.
It's
just not got the writings of someone that's
has
actually got
technical specialities.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a person that
these are fragments of please keep in mind these are fragments of the note as reported by media and not the complete original text. The full note hasn't been entirely closed to the public. What's available is based on the authorities have chosen to share. what hasn't leaked through various channels. So this might just be like not even a note. It might just be like
musings.
Yeah, but even when I read it now, I'm like, but this just seems like someone's gone, we need a note. Someone write a note.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like the PSYOP has been created, and there are certain bullet points that need filling. Have we got this? Have we got that? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a rough...
They've gone ChatGPT, make him more of a patriot.
Yeah. It sounds
make him seem a bit more right-wing. Make him seem a little bit less right-wing. Like, all it is just... They've just tried to... It just feels like someone's crafted this in ChatGPT. And they wouldn't have got on his phone anyway. There's no way. He was using Proton email and Signal. So how could they get into his phone that easy? And if he's burnt to a crisp, there's no way they can use space, is it?
Yeah, exactly, to get into the phone. But there are methods they used to crack in. But like you pointed out as well, the Desert Eagle that he allegedly shot himself with inside that car, that happened to get, like, melted to, like, such a degree that it didn't barely even look like a gun, but yet the phone and the identification just so happens to survive. It has all the hallmarkings of a conspiracy, and like I said, also turning into a sort of movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like you said, Ben, it doesn't sound like someone that we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I just want to pinpoint on these little things. It doesn't sound like a guy that was in communications intelligence operations with special forces and someone that would win awards like multiple Bronze Stars, including one with a Valor, a Combat Infantry badge, and Army Commendation Medal with Valor. Like, that note sounds like a really disgruntled right-wing dude from down the pub. It does.
Yeah.
It
sounds like voice notes that have been dictaphone and kind of like...
Sounds like a blue-collar worker is what you would call it.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's just filled the gaps, filled in some gaps.
Yes. And also, what I will also say about that note as well, I still do not understand people that will leave a suicide note that is allegedly meant to be read, meant to be found, but yet why would you incinerate yourself inside an explosive car, a car that is designed to contain explosives because it's bulletproof and it's designed to act like that? Elon Musk has already demonstrated that with several things. Why would you then take the time to write something and leave it on a device that's inside the car that you're trying to contain an explosion in, along with a fire? That doesn't make sense. Why bother writing it? Why not sling out the window in the fucking ferns across the road, then do your job?
Well, is this note meant to lead us to believe the other note? Because they were like, well, you wouldn't believe that. How did they get it? So if it's all a PSYOP...
Yes, that's what we're saying. It's like almost like two PSYOPs are butting heads and merging into one. Because then we'll move on to the next note, which we would say is a manifesto. This was sent to a Sam Shoemate. Now, I was unaware of Sam Shoemate before this episode of the Sean Ryan Show. I just haven't come across him on social media. I know that he's ex-intelligence, as is Sean Ryan, which also needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. You don't know who these ex-intelligence people are still working for, and if they're informants of any way, shape, or form. You know.
Well, you're never really exactly going to be a fully ex-informant, are you? If you're a informant, you're going to be an informant forever.
Well, that's what Rogan has always said about the ex-CIA intelligence officer that he gets on the podcast every now and then. I can't remember what the name is, but every time he opens the show up, he's like, that's it. And he's like, are we fucked? And like that's all he opens the show up with. Like, are we fucked? Then Rogan even says often with other guests, like, is he ex-CIA? You know, if you're that deep in that system, you should always be considered not necessarily ex, but there's always a bridge there still. So this needs to kind of be taken with a pinch of salt also. It begins with, Dear Sam, I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or the FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't be because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBIED, which is a vehicle-based IED, which is basically a car bomb. I can't remember what the acronym fully stands for, but that's what it means. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. What we have been seeing with drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Gravitic propulsion, meaning gravity propulsion. If you're watching the cameras, UFOs, as you can see pictured behind me on my back wall, for want of a better word. Only we in China have this capacity. They basically have unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted to. It's checkmate. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity has recently picked up. This is mutually assured destruction situation. The only way to avoid it is to expose it. Please do not release this until 1st of January. Keep my identity private until then. In case I do make it to my decision point, I don't know what he means by that, or to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Decision point. Sorry, the whole truck exploding.
Yeah.
Most likely. I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. The drones sighted recently on the East Coast, particularly in New Jersey, are using gravity manipulation. They represent the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. I was involved in covering up war crimes in Afghanistan in 2019, where an airstrike in Numeriz province caused civilian casualties, including women and children. This was covered up by US authorities. This was not a terrorist attack. This was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives?
Right. So that makes me think that the note that was found on his phone was fake, because they've just taken stuff from this email and put it into that note.
Now, we'll quickly go over both We'll go over what we feel about both of these main messages. One particular thing, because we do like to play the devil's advocate here on the Not Another Conspiracy podcast, something particular got brought up about the email that Sam had shown to Sean and had also released the black image and the yellow sort of trim of the inbox. I guess that's Proton email.
I think they've addressed that, though.
Right. I have not seen how they addressed it.
Yeah. So I think
before we go further, the reason it needed addressing is because there were discrepancies on the image that made you see the email from an edited standpoint, not from what someone would retrieve in an inbox. For people that are listening that don't know,
it had highlighted spelling errors. It had
and a
cursor. But he said that the reason it was like that is because they had to take out the names.
Gotcha. Right.
So they put it in to take out the redaction. So they edited it like that, so they could just take them out rather than just blacken them out.
That makes complete sense.
That makes sense. But again, this whole thing, it has sections from the other messages, right?
The other messages.
Until the one that we just read, right? The one before. There's sections that are word for word copy pasted.
Yep.
So if this came out before this one, which is true, the mainstream media is reporting, it also came out before the Signal security number changed.
Yep.
Right. So if this email is really from him to Sam Shoemate,
yep,
and that other one is really from Matt Livelsberger's phone, that could have been copied from the Proton email into that message that they're using as a suicide note. But I just think the whole thing just feels fake as fuck.
So one thing that Ben touched on, everybody, that you heard was the Signal security number changed. Now, if you're not aware, Signal is a messaging app, an anonymous messaging app that's encrypted, and the security number changes whenever you log into your Signal account from a new phone.
Or device.
Or device. This apparently happened after the bomb the car had exploded outside.
It happened before. The bomb exploded. Before the bomb exploded, but after and before this email was sent.
Yes. So
it happened on the 29th, I think, is the Signal change.
And the interesting thing as well that Sam mentioned is people then contacted him saying that I'm friends with this guy. His Signal account has changed, to which Sam had also been communicating with him over Signal, to which then Sam went to his phone to see, and lo and behold, the Signal security number had changed. So that means the phone that he had been communicating on throughout the entire journey up until that point should have been melted and completely disintegrated. However, the number had changed.
No, that's an assumption.
Right, it is an assumption. Okay, right.
Like he could have just gone, right, getting rid of this phone now. They're tracking me on this phone, getting a new phone, and gonna get Signal back on it. It could have been that.
So do you think then that is? Do you think then that is? No. But do you think then that second phone that he has created is potentially the phone that was found in the car, or do you think it's the phone that he has on himself now, if he's still alive?
If he's still alive, maybe the phone that was left in the car
was the first one.
Or there wasn't a phone left in the car because it would have burnt to a fucking crisp.
Right.
And there's no way we would be able to get that note off of it. I just think if he's that careful about using Proton email, which is like that hyper cryptic,
and he specializes in tracking people, so he knows when he's being tracked.
Yeah. So you would think that it just all feels like they're like he's really, really like he's a hyper Green Beret, top of his class Green Beret, but also he left his ID, his phone in a compartment that couldn't burn.
And he also sounds like the worst sounding right wing nutcase. Like
but like bipolar AI, right wing, left wing nutcase.
Yeah,
his ID though looks exactly the same as the ones that were found at 9/11. It looks like someone's just held a lighter to the bottom corner.
Or wasn't it one of the passports from the 7/7
9/11
as well?
Yeah,
passport 7/7.
Yeah, that's again that Elon Musk's made in his cars out of that same material.
Yeah. Mobile communications, communication systems, radio communication, computer networking, technology integration, a communications specialist in 18E, intelligence operations specialist, special forces ops manager and team sergeant, and remote autonomous systems manager. He's not an idiot. The dude's not a dickhead. He's not an idiot.
It just all feels like they've gone, right, we're gonna kill someone and we're gonna make it look like he's a nutcase because we want to start a war with China / Iran / whoever we want. Let's start setting off some bombs. Like we did the New Orleans one where there was like, an ISIS flag seems to have survived that fire. Flags survive fires now, do they? I thought they were like the most flammable thing. Polyester.
Not if you're in the European Union.
Yeah.
Can't burn a flag in the European Union, can you? No, never seen that video of that EDL dude trying to burn the European Union flag in his back garden, and it just doesn't light because it's made of a material that's inflammable.
So good. What was all that pink stuff on the flag? Did anyone see that?
No. The New Orleans one.
Yeah, it looked like someone had sprayed it in silly string. Did you not see that?
Might have been.
No,
let me just try and find it.
I hadn't seen that one.
I'll let you guys continue this.
Ben, you were touched on something quite interesting, that you think that it could be a PSYOP on both sides preparing people for like a war with China. Now, in the
it just feels weird that you'd mentioned the drones being like this. Was it gravitic propulsion systems? Which is like, you do know we don't. This thing, we've got it. We can defy gravity now. We've got the thing. Lazar was right. It's bullshit.
And what's also interesting is that also the PSYOP in itself, because a lot of people believe that these drones that are being hit everywhere are either Chinese, US, ET, or it's just an actual case of preparing the masses for anti-gravity based vehicles.
Blue beam.
Stuff.
No, I think it's blue beam.
You think it's blue beam?
I always think it's blue beam. I think the whole thing. Since the 2-pack hologram, mate. I think we're gonna have. That's it. we're gonna have holographic alien invasion any time.
And so, also in his manifesto that he emailed to Sean Ryan, at one point, as we mentioned in there, he mentions that. Hold on, I'm trying to find it now. The OP, where he was explaining where he was stationed.
Oh yeah, that was in a screen grab at the bottom of the email, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it just so happened to be the location coordinates of Area 51.
Yes, so
wow. This is where it is all done. Why did you say, oh yeah, by the way, we're based at Area 51, not just put the coordinates in. Just say, oh yeah, we're based at Area 51.
So yeah, that was.
It all just feels like a bit fucking
like a movie.
You know, it's too good to be true. Yeah, it's a bit like Homeland or fucking what's that one with Kiefer Sutherland? 24.
Yeah,
it feels
24.
like some shit like that, like like even X-Files maybe. Like it's all kind of it's all like wrapped up neatly to be like this.
So there was me looking for him mentioning the part of Area 51 or where he was stationed. I missed that chunk off of the first email. So it reads, I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in blah, blah, Afghanistan 2019 that I mentioned. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of CIVCAS, which I miss is civilian casualties maybe, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. US FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. Not too sure what ISR means. It was supposed to take maybe so.
Initial surveillance recon.
There you go. It was supposed to take
smash that, didn't I?
It is that.
All aircraft and SATCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with US FORA and agent redacted of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with General Miller's IO staff on this, as well as the response to Bala Magab. Not too sure about that one or what significance that is. AOB S-Commander at the time was redacted, who can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war, because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. For vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matt Livelsberger on active duty, 18Z, and then continues to say where he was, and that he has an active TSSCI with UAP USAP access, which is unidentified aerial phenomena,
something important,
unacknowledged secret access programs. But yes, the location that he then attached to that email as to where his location was for working on these things
Area 51.
Of course, which
on the nose much.
Yeah,
come on. What? Alien base.
At least Area 51,
they'll fucking love that.
At least Bob Lazar put S4, and which was like 20 miles south of Area 51.
Yeah, through a tunnel under the ground. Like, it's so stupid. It's just like, you know, when you just read something, you just like, and you just everything just like they've gone like, everyone's really smart now. Let's like make sure that like we leave like really vague clues. Like it all feels like.
It feels like
I don't even think there was anyone in that truck. I don't think there wasn't anyone in that truck.
You know, like the first scene in Casino.
Yeah.
Where the dummy just appeared.
That's such a terrible fucking cutting in that.
It's the worst, isn't it?
However, there was analysis on the video. There was a new video that was released of a close-up, and before the explosion, you can see the silhouette of someone sitting in the car.
Yeah, can you though?
But well, you can. Like you can see it. It's there.
I would say you can.
Somebody is sitting in the car. However, if he blasted
and his head turns.
If he blasted himself in the head with a Desert Eagle, which they said he did, I don't think you would have a head left on your body, or you
50 caliber
be like this, because you can see a full head there, and like JJ said, you can see the head slightly move in the next frame when the explosion has occurred.
Yeah, much like that.
But did he then have the capability during the explosion, because his eardrums would have fucking blown out, which would have been excruciating pain? Would he have then been able to have taken the gun
and he would have been burning? He would have been on fire.
Skin melting off of his hands. he have then been capable during all of that to have? That's my point. That's my point. That's really one of the, mind the pun, smoking gun that leads me to believe that he didn't off himself in the car.
Well, you see the picture of the gun. It's the handle is melted.
No, but the phone's fine and the ID's perfectly fine as well.
That ID, but the ID thing. It's just as soon as they find an ID in any of these crimes, I just instantly don't believe it, because like my passport gets ruined if I put it in my pocket. It's like just folded up. How did that happen? Like,
I've kept my national insurance card as safe as possible. I've left it in a drawer, and it probably looks worse than what they find on fucking.
I lost mine like 3 days into having one.
So the gun, the handle's melted, which the handle probably would have been made of rubber.
Yeah.
So I mean, the actual barrel is not melted.
No.
And it's got loads of other stuff stuck to it. So chances are that's probably just a bit of the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't write that one off.
Cheap.
But I wouldn't. So yeah, but that's the question. And I guess would you find that up for a forensics analysis? Possibly. I don't know whether he had shot himself before burning to death, or burning to death and then shooting himself, like the process of death. I don't know.
The ID is ridiculous. It's literally like a little bird next to it.
You look at everything else that came out of that car, like it's I mean, a gun barrel, like, and it's, probably didn't get that hot.
Obviously. Yeah.
But the image, what I think the most important image is the kind of that shot of the burning Cybertruck next to Trump, almost like it's a setup. Like the image looks like a setup. So it's so perfect.
Are you guys also of the opinion that the reason why it was a Cybertruck and it was at Trump Towers was to just get as much media attention as possible?
Yes.
Right, okay. Because I was like, is there any relevance to any of that? Or
Trump and Elon are like that with politics at the minute. And he's now he's running the Department of Government Efficacy. Like, it is joint. It's what I'm saying. It's like a fucking movie. It's like, we'll use this symbolic image and also
it's RoboCop is what it is.
So what's the significance of the New Orleans one?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, JJ.
What's the significance of the New Orleans thing? I know we're not talking about this.
I don't think they said that they both trained at Fort Bragg, but they were like 15 years difference or something.
Right.
And one guy was like the IT guy, and then this Matt guy was like echelons above him, and then this other guy was just like some dude who was in the army, and he said he's only the last year or so he's been radicalized, but it's all a bit weird.
I think the intention of this thing wasn't to harm anybody; it was just to cause attention.
Because he's an expert in that field of autonomous things and explosives and this, that, the other. If he wanted to level the building and cause damage, he would have just driven through those glass windows.
Well, it didn't even shatter a glass window, did it? The explosion. So
what's the general consensus that everyone's thinking in terms of, like, do they think? Well, I can see you two are probably a little bit split, but also similar ideas of why. But so. Did people think he was offed in that vehicle outside Trump Towers, or do they think he was just a mental extremist guy? So,
according to the CCTV footage, he initially pulled into the tower or into like the valet area.
He was staying there, wasn't he?
I don't think
he went and came back, didn't he?
First. And then drove away, and then 17 seconds later, apparently, came back.
An hour later, he came back, and then within 17 seconds of coming back, he had killed himself, and the explosion had happened. But I think he was staying there, from what I gathered from like a few things.
Possibly, that might be a piece of information I have missed. But
because what sounds like happens is he's driven off.
Yeah,
he's gone to the valet, picked his car up. Someone's put a car bomb in his car. And when he's pulled back up, he's tried to get out, and that's triggered the explosives. And it's fucking, and the gun is the fact that he shot himself in the head is just fake.
People were first suggesting that it self-drove itself up to the tower, thinking it was a dead body in the car. But people confirmed that you can't do that with a corpse in the driver's seat or something.
Yeah, apparently, if like the self-driving thing, which is it doesn't self-drive unless you're looking. But having had a Tesla, it doesn't self-drive unless you've got your hands on the wheel. But you can buy these clamps that you clamp onto the bottom of the wheel. But apparently, if you're not looking up, it bongs at you. But my one, you have to have your hands on the wheel.
That's only in England though, because FSD is in full functionality in America now.
Okay.
So you don't need that weighted thing. It's got like a thing to make sure that you're awake. But in England, it's not legal yet, so they're not allowed to do it.
What is also something to consider is he's a technology integration expert. Like, he's in the field of computers and tech, and he's a fucking smart guy. You can look at his experience on his LinkedIn. And we also know that Teslas can be modded. Not easily or whatever, but there's people have manipulated things and stuff. So what's to say he hasn't been able to do that himself? Now, it's quite an outlandish thought, but some people have suggested that there's a potential that he tracked down the person that was tracking him, the hunter became the hunted sort of thing, and he
put him in the car.
Put a body in the car, made it seem it was him, so he could get gone, which, let's be real, is a possibility. I don't know the odds on it.
I mean, it's as plausible as all the other stuff.
That's the concept, because the DNA of the body doesn't match of his son, right?
Yeah. But he's a Green Beret, so they'd have his DNA. Surely.
He's military. Blood tests.
Yeah, they have their DNA on file.
But the issue is that if the hunter was of the government official trying to hunt him, technically he's fighting against the same team, isn't he? So there would be like... I think the problem is with these things, they just throw so many people off the scent that it's impossible to make a logical decision.
Compartmentalize every single tier of the operation to a point where no one knows what's going on.
He was just an absolute lunatic, and he'd lost his mind because he had PTSD, thought he was being followed, blew up, put loads of fireworks in the back of it on a hired Cybertruck, parked outside Trump Tower, shot himself in the head, and it blew up.
I don't seem to buy. Also, what they're trying to suggest is that the infidelity is one thing that led him to doing what he was doing. When, like, they were like, "Oh, the DNA doesn't match the son. Oh, it means he's not the dad. Oh, that's got to be part of the reason he's not the father."
Yeah, but that feels like so tenuous as well.
Yeah, that's like, it's got to be that's got to be a reason.
DNA doesn't match his son's. How did we get his son's DNA so quick?
Yeah,
was he there?
So,
what? Surely he's got a brother or something that we got DNA from.
Okay, so do we want to move down to a breakdown on him, like all of his qualifications, because we've been talking about his expertise?
We've talked about quite a few of them all the time.
Yeah, so, and also the timeline of events. And
I think this roll back through the timeline of events and see if we can work out what's happened. Okay,
so December 28th. 2024, Livelsberger rented a Tesla Cybertruck in Denver, Colorado.
From Truro.
Okay, January 1st, 2025. Early morning, the Cybertruck arrives in Las Vegas, tracked via Tesla charging stations. Around 8:40 a.m., the truck
but you've got...
Go on.
What happens between 28th and the 1st?
Well, this is just the notes that I've got.
This is all they know. This is all they know. So I mean, I've seen they've got the supercharger map that he went along. So he just drew straight there. Yeah, he bought a gun. He got the gun. He got his gun in Arizona. New Desert Eagle. Bang, bang, bang.
Along with another pistol, apparently.
Yeah, he bought that further along. 3 days wait in Arizona to buy a gun. So he had to put the order in 3 days before he picked it up, before he went on his journey. But he definitely started his journey after he picked the gun up. Okay. That's what I've got that from other sources.
So the truck research. The 8:40 a.m., the truck explodes in front of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. Livelsberger was found dead inside with a self-inflicted gunshot wound through his body, though his body was burned beyond recognition. The items found in the truck included his military ID, passport, credit card, 2 semi-automatic pistols, fireworks, an iPhone, and a smartwatch.
Right. Plastic burns so quick.
Yes. Very fucking quick.
So quick. If a body is burnt beyond recognition, a piece of plastic this thick is going to be burnt beyond all recognition. The ID, again, burnt beyond recognition. I get 2 metal guns that the fire probably didn't get that hot that it melted metal, because the car seems to be in pretty good shape. But I just, every time, my iPhone broke when it's in my back pocket.
Yeah.
It just broke because I bent my knee too quickly.
What I want to know is,
I was on stage at Download. So I was on stage at Download this year. That's why we haven't done podcasts.
Where were his passport military ID found? Because if I had a military ID, I would keep it either in my wallet or my pocket, right?
I wouldn't have it with me if I was going to blow up towers.
Well, precisely, but for want of a conversation, where did they find it?
I'd probably have it with me, and then as I was leaving the crime scene, I'd probably ignite it and throw it in.
Or not ignite it. I'd cover it in like some kind of like fire retardant gel.
Just the face, everything else burnt.
Yeah, just to leave a little. You know, like that stuff that they put on like stuntmen when they put that gel on them when they. I reckon they put that. They just rub that, dipped it in that, and thrown it back in.
So
I don't know.
The post-incident investigation, as we said, there were claims that Livelsberger's DNA did not match his son's, raising questions about the identity of the deceased, which still hasn't been not necessarily confirmed or denied. But they've just said.
I just think it's just such a really weird way of like phrasing it. Like,
so
it doesn't confirm it's him, but it's not his son's.
Yeah,
it doesn't match his son's.
But that's his corpse.
Do with that information what you will.
Yeah, it's burnt beyond recognition. That was his body in there, but his son isn't his. That just sounds like to me that they're throwing something now, like a situation at the wife where she's like, "What the fuck? Of course that's his son," and they're like, "Apparently, our forensics analysis says it's not."
DNA doesn't match though, so it just seems like so weird. Like, you go, is it his DNA? Well, it doesn't match his son's. Is it his DNA? Doesn't match his son's. It's like,
it doesn't answer the question.
Is it his DNA? Well, the body is burnt beyond recognition. What about the DNA testing? It's not his son's.
Nor deny. I can neither confirm nor deny. I can neither confirm nor deny.
We have no possible way of seeing if it is him, but we do have this ID card, so it must be.
So, did you get a DNA match on the body? So, do you need one? Because we got this, not burnt.
Did Truro say anything about the possibility that the guy who hired the car previously might have just left his ID in there? Because, I mean, I find all sorts of stuff in hire cars. Like, where did this come from?
It could be that. Maybe it was that. So, it's like some like ISIS headquarters. They're going, oh, no. The Americans, they think it was someone else. It's meant to be the New Orleans guys. Both guys, the same guys. No one checked the IDs.
Have you seen that? One of the funny things I find is all the people on X talking about, would you really dust the rubble off your car if you were about to go and blow it up? Have you seen it? It's just like this dusting the stones off.
There was obviously all like camera footage picked up from like Tesla charging stations and stuff.
Yeah, but they're all the cameras on the car. All that is cameras on the car.
But it's where he had stopped off at a Tesla charging station from the vetted podcast that we've watched with researchers as well, that he was brushing dirt off of a certain area. Now, initially, I thought he was checking for bugs because he was like reaching underneath.
Like grubs.
I thought he was
like millipedes. Earwigs. Bugs. Don't this could be set on fire soon. You don't want to die. Be free, bugs.
I thought he was checking for bugs, but at least that's what it looked like to me.
I thought he was tying his shoelace.
No, he was brushing dirt off of like a particular area of it.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, right, if he had all this expertise and stuff, why did he decide to use fireworks?
Because he didn't want to. He didn't want to blow the place up. He just wanted to make a scene. Yeah, I think is what it is.
Why didn't he just let off some party poppers and shoot himself in the head? Like?
That'd be the better one.
What
swinging his manifesto out,
strap himself to the front of it,
candle in his hand, and then just straight.
You know that is it Red Dragon where he sets Philip Seymour Hoffman on fire and then throws him down a hill? Well, do something like that, like. Just write Trump on your shirt and Musk on the back, and then just set yourself on fire.
Just set yourself
that has reminded me of something that from the email on to Sam, that he said, my first car was a 2006 Mustang for verification. But someone checked his vehicle records, and it wasn't. It was like a 98 Mustang.
Yes, and I also went so far. If anybody's watching this on the podcast, you'll be able to see, watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the difference in the cars, because that's what I saw. There were two different claims that he had a 97 or a 98?
98 Mustang and a 2006 BMW was the next one. Right, yeah.
Now, with regards to the Mustangs of the one that he did in fact own, rather than the one that was claimed
Snoz. Is that Sniz?
They're very different. So this is the one
that's he horrible
claimed to have owned.
Yeah.
And this is the one that he
did
in fact own. Two very completely different looking models.
Yeah.
You can't confuse those Mustangs. So that's a glaring thing.
Yeah, but then someone said that maybe it was his first car was registered to his parents, because that happens a lot. But then someone did a check on that, and it definitely wasn't. So, yeah.
So the thing with this kind of thing, it just screams like inside messaging. It's almost like an encoded message to go somewhere that can't. Because why would you put that information in? You've got all this other information like LinkedIn and stuff. You're like, this was my first car, but it wasn't my first car.
Yeah,
so,
I think you've got a point there. It could be coded, and he is a communications expert.
Yeah.
So they've probably gone used because it goes back to Helia. Like they used the coordinates to come up with the cipher. Yeah. Maybe the coordinates of the cipher.
I just don't understand why these people want to speak to people like Fox and Sean Ryan. Like that for me is the big glaring thing.
I thought about the idea, like, why didn't he go higher? Although he was asking to speak to some other named person, which
go to Rogan. Go straight to Rogan. That's like the best
thing
one.
Is, the way I'll defend that is I could imagine someone that has had the military credentials he's had, and also be in intelligence, and also being in fields that both Sean and this Sam have been in. That's why he spoke to them, because he knew.
And he must love God as well.
Them. Well, you never know. You know,
he's American. They all love God.
Right. They will after all this, because they just won't like Muhammad.
Yeah.
Or Allah.
But I would see that as him going to people that he knows he can trust with information. Right?
Yeah, I get that. I think he's probably gone to them going, they'll be able to crack this cipher that I've put in my I think why, because the way he does so many acronyms and the way he words stuff. If it was him that sent this email, surely there's got to be something in there that's like.
Do you know what got
there's
me?
A cipher in there.
What got me a bit like raised an eyebrow? They did. Both Sean and Sam knew what the VBID was, but apparently the FBI person that Sam was talking to about this email
what's a VBID?
Had no idea what a VBID was, which was a vehicle-based IED.
But this is the thing, like all these, I don't even know what you call them, like echelons of the like CID, and what did Sean Ryan say? Oh, what did that other guy say? He was basically like, they're like the FBI light. Just like
fucking nerds, man.
I had him fucking talk to them.
And I was just like, well, because they don't speak to each other. It's like,
and also they're not out in the field they're not military. Like the FBI is not military, so they wouldn't know what a field-based IED is.
Here's a terrible. What's the word? This is a terrible analogy, but I have I had some problems with my bones, and I went to the doctors, and then I went to the hospital, and they knew nothing about it because their systems haven't been updated from paper. So if we can't even get our NHS in order, those guys are probably just like, who the fuck, you know what I mean? It's like.
So they claim the FBI didn't know what a VBID was, which I still think's bad, because it's the FBI. They're designed to thwart attacks. That's what their job is.
But it might be because I think vehicle-based IED rather than car bomb, like that. Like, I'm sure
got CB, lads. Got CB.
All right with all the other acronyms.
This guy's got a VBID. There's a VBID coming in. Do you mean car bomb? I do mean car bomb. Then I get you. Just say car bomb because a VBID sounds like some kind of cryptocurrency. Like, so, and I've never heard of VBID. It will be a crypto now. Get the new Livelsberger crypto VBID. We won't pull the rug. No, VBID. VBID is a new term for me as well.
So my point I was getting to was that Sean and Sam didn't know what a USAP was, which is the Unacknowledged Secret Access Program, and for the amount of.
But it's not acknowledged. That's why, Dean. That's what it. No one's acknowledged it.
And it could possibly not exist.
It's a secret program. God.
What about all the guests that he's had that have brought up USAPs? He's had countless UFO-based guests that have all spoken about unacknowledged.
Yeah, but they've not.
So why does he suddenly forget what this acronym is? Huh? What's that? I don't know what that is. What the fuck do you mean you don't know what that is?
The Bible. He just cares about God now. All he cares about is God. He's like, get rid of these acronyms. Give me some.
Imagine if they put acronyms in the Bible. It'd be way smaller. Just for like tiny little version of the Bible. SOG, Son of God. JC, SOG.
Mary Magdalene.
Eminem.
JTD,
like one of those
Joseph Technicolor Dreamcoat.
One of those things that you see on Instagram, like if you read this, you've got ADHD, and it's just like SOG, JC, and you just read the Bible really fast.
I do
without Adderall.
So with regards to his email, did you guys what was very interesting, he pointed towards the war crime. Now, this was where I was like, oh, wait a minute. If this is a PSYOP and Sam and Sean are being used within the PSYOP and they themselves are kind of involved, as a lot of people are suggesting, why would the US government make everybody aware of a war crime that was committed in 2019 that Livelsberger was apparently a part of, to which then Sean Ryan then responded to someone that was calling Sean Ryan out and saying, this email's a load of shit. It's all a load of bollocks. He brought up a United Nations press release about the incident. Why would someone do that that's involved in a PSYOP that then puts on a pedestal the United States military being involved in a horrific war crime? Why? Answer me that.
Because that's literally all they do.
Well, no, I know that's all they do, but they never get held accountable for. But this is being used as something to hold them accountable for. So why would someone that's a part of a PSYOP that is also...
Are you saying that Sean's part of the PSYOP?
Well, no, I'm coming at it from every single angle at the moment. You've got to look at it from the fact that Sean and Sam aren't not a part of this, or they also are a part of this because they are ex-military, ex-CIA, ex-intelligence people. They're always going to be connected. You need to take them with a grain of salt. So why would they then sit there and be like, oh yeah, our country that we love and the government that I actually say that is capable of doing stuff, but I'm actually still connected to and doing shit for. They did this in 2019. Horrific shit that should be brought in front of a world court. Why would they do that?
I mean,
they're involved in the PSYOP.
The thing is, they've got to do that kind of "where one of you" kind of people, aren't they? They're like, because he constantly goes on in that thing. He's like, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. So you got to take it pinch of salt, didn't you?
I know. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because I'm just like, I watch him, and he's always talking about it. And I think if the government were that, well, I'm not saying if the government were that powerful, if they really wanted to get rid of people like Joe Rogan and Sean Ryan, it's better to just keep them on a very tight leash in a way where they're like, we'll trickle feed you bits of information that aren't really going to affect anything because you're telling all these. I mean, what does anyone know the demographic of the people who watch these shows? Like, it's us.
White middle-aged men. You know what I mean? They're just like, did you hear? Did you hear? Oh my God.
And the thing is, it's the same as all the false flag stuff, innit? It gets people talking about this like very small problem in life.
Right. The rest is
while
going
all this other shit's going on, you know, like, and it's just, you know, it might have even been a Donald Trump and Elon Musk thing. they might have just done it just to distract their attention away to just try and get to January 25th because Donald Trump's just been pulled in again, hasn't he, for that, paying off that prostitute woman.
Really?
Yeah, so they basically are putting him on trial for it now and in hope to imprison him by January the 10th. So like 5 days' time. And then obviously if that's the case, it will be JC Vance will become president, I think.
Vance, yeah.
JD Vance.
Everyone seems to like that guy. He seems
and this is what I'm saying. I'm thinking it might be like, this is just an easy way just to get him in and just distract all the attention away. And then he can go for the whole like, oh, this is why we need guns. This is why we need, it's just something else to back up that sort of rhetoric, I guess,
So with regards to what happened in Afghanistan and in 2019 and what the UN reported about it. So it says the UN report from October 2019 found that the US strikes on an alleged drug processing facility in Afghanistan on May the 5th, 2019 resulted in significant civilian casualties, verifying 39 deaths, including 14 children and 1 woman. The report concludes that these facilities should not have been targeted as they were civilian objectives under international humanitarian law. This is where it gets to the point of it is, as it come to a point where the PSYOP has kind of hit itself into a wall and been like, oh, fuck.
I thought that drug facility was run by children.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's 14 kids and 1 woman died. Who else would die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking that's probably the statistics of how many children and women die in Afghanistan in that factory every day anyway. So, I mean, it probably was just a normal occurrence.
So
they bombed it again.
It just turns out that the HR guy is American government, and he's like, fuck. We're going down again.
Have we got any nutcase military people we can pin this on at any point, boys?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then we've got the idea that he said he worked in USAP places on UAPs with regards to the gravitic propulsion technology that's being used, which is gravity-based propulsion. Go on, JJ.
So you showed me and Ben the video earlier on, the Google Map thing. I haven't had much time today, but so where is that?
Area 51.
It's inside Area 51.
So the part that's above where the pinpoint is that the lake?
The whole,
yeah,
that's Groom Lake, and that's the runway associated with it and stuff. What people are also suggesting is he either chose that location smartly because a particular job experience that or a particular job that he would be doing would warrant using a fucking huge satellite dish if he was conducting operations from that position. And next to the office where the pinpoint is a humongous fucking satellite dish array, which I don't know whether he's... Go on.
Something else. So he said in the email that he's currently serving. He was in current service.
Yeah,
he says that he was part of like the Zulus or some shit.
He's current service in Germany. So he's just come back from approved leave. He's back on approved leave.
And that was
Does anyone know why he had leave?
Just on holiday, I think.
Nothing.
So,
if he's divorced, or he's breaking up with his missus or something.
So just on that point, there's been loads of stuff in the news recently. I don't know if you saw the guy who his wife just put a video up on TikTok saying that she's really surprised how her husband's taken the divorce, and then he shot her and shot himself.
Oh. No, I didn't. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Family Annihilator, very good.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, all these stories seem to come out around roughly the same time that things happen like this. Divorce, murder, suicide.
You never.
Yeah, I saw it earlier on.
Jeez.
6 days ago, which would have been New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all the websites are websites that I've never heard of. So WLBT3.
Never heard of it.
It says here, husband and wife killed in murder-suicide had started processing the divorce, a friend says. I'll send you the link and then you can put it in there. So I didn't know if that was any relevance or not.
Cybertruck up, and then someone else did it. It was fuck. I guess I'll just shoot her.
Fuck it, it's just shooting their head.
Yeah, there you go.
Old school way.
Yeah, I just don't know, because that might tie in. It might be like, oh look, this has happened, and it's more common than you think, and then it might be something to do with the way because Sean Ryan's always talking about how soldiers don't get treated very well when they leave the army, and he's always talking about how there isn't enough service care and PTSD and stuff. I mean, it's a very long, a very big PSYOP if that's the case. But
yeah. So, what are we thinking with the whole regard to the gravitational UAP stuff? Because he brings that into account with the drone situation that is going on. That you must admit is fucking weird that the US are just like,
we've not really spoke about that, have we?
No, that's yeah. So let's get to the thick of that, because like JJ said, that kind of goes on and on and on as well, in the sense of the US. So over here, it's very fucking bizarre that there are these truck-sized drones that are hovering at low altitudes, and
for a long time
do not seem concerned. Like in one press fucking announcement that they were doing, one woman brings the question again, like, what's going on? So what's going on with the drone situation? To which the person's like, oh, is that the drone thing in New Jersey? Is that the one you're referring to? No. Another place in America's having these fucking drones just flying above it, and you're doing shit about it. Yes.
They're everywhere, apparently.
So
they're
Ryan
nonchalant about it.
Ryan Graves has just been on Joe Rogan like last week, and he thinks that there is upward of 4,000 of them in the air.
That's how
currently in the air. So I mean, 4,000 is a lot, and obviously with James Fox, I think he was called.
He said
new documentary introduced me to that. Introduced me to that phenom. This
Phenomena.
one,
the phenomena.
But I don't know if anyone's tried using this app.
It's just opening NatWest Bank. I don't know.
This loading bar never actually goes past zero.
Never loads.
It's pretty useless.
But
just doesn't work.
So I don't think
Glad
the
we didn't download
UAP thing. I don't think the UAP thing should be disregarded, because it feels to me that what's happening here in America with that thing. There are planes that are being sighted. There are also drones that are being videoed at night that you can see have a structure to them. But then there are also orbs that are not like drones. Like, there are some very weird things that are also being captured in the sky.
Have you seen any?
No, not in Michigan. They haven't made it to Michigan yet. How are you guys feeling with regards to his connection to UAP stuff? Do you think it's horseshit? Do you think he's involved in it?
It feels like it's a really good hook at the beginning of...
Precisely.
Really good hook at the beginning of his email to go, oh yeah, those drones, they're anti-gravity. Anyway, I was in charge of a drone strike that killed 14 children and one woman, and I feel really guilty about it. So
I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't get that link, because it's like blah, 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 and then this is what actually really happened, and I'm really sad about it.
Are they necessarily linked, or is he just aware of two things that are going on right now? I'm feeling shit about this war crime that I've committed, and I've also been part of covering up. But also at the same time, I'm well aware of the shit that's going on the East Coast of America that is got the headlines, but yet the United States are not doing anything about. Like, oh, we know that they're non-threatening, so what are they? We don't know that. We don't want to speculate yet. Sorry, there's a conspiracy.
It doesn't match. The DNA doesn't match his son, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So the East Coast thing, and it's a lot of them are being spotted over New Jersey and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So obviously that's where Camp Hero is, right? Oh, not Camp Hero, Camp. The one that we've talked about previously in the Stranger Thing
Is it Camp David?
No. Hello, Camp David. Hello, Alan. What did you have for breakfast?
Is that the Montauk?
Montauk, yeah. Montauk. Which has apparently been closed down since 1970. And obviously they say it's not in operation still, but you still can't go to it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that is all to do with dimensional porting and stuff like that. But if they're being seen all over America at all military bases and stuff, I just wondered if that was where that was.
they also so this is as well how shocking it is that the United States government, the alleged most powerful force on planet Earth, can't seem to stop these things that are hovering over military bases that evidently ended up shutting down the place where the Roswell crash had allegedly
Area 50 near Area 51.
No,
right?
not Area 51. It was taken to an Air Force base initially, and I can't remember what it was. And it was in Ohio. No, not Eglin. Find out what that one was for me, Ben. That Air Force base got shut down because of these drones over it, and they couldn't launch because it was a dangerous situation. That's okay, and they're not threatening though. But we don't know what they are. But we're not
Was it Hobbs?
down or anything. Pardon?
Was it Hobbs Air Force? Alamogordo?
No, hold on.
Just while you're searching that, on Joe Rogan last week, he talked about how, you mentioned no one was trying to shoot them down. He mentioned that 2 highway patrolmen tried to shoot them down with shotguns.
Yes, yeah.
And that obviously he said, when you shoot up, nothing but pellets come down.
Yeah. Well, they were saying on that, I think it was the Sean Ryan one, or the guy the week before is saying that they're using EMPs on. They can take a drone out of the air with one click of a button on an EMP, which is an electronic magnetic pulse or whatever.
Do it like that.
Yeah, and they can take down 100 at a time. Yeah. So the fact that either they've not decided to do that or it's not working means it's something different.
But why has no one tried to trace where they're going? Because he said 48 hours. Like, he said 48 hours and then they're just disappearing. But they're in, like, Ryan Graves, or Greaves, or whatever he's called, said that they're, like, in sync. So they're like, a bit like Starlink, like they're spaced apart and they're in formation. But he said recently there's been a group of, like, 4 or 5 of them, and then there's been other ones going to them. Mm-hmm. So he mentioned something along the lines of the Amazon, the Amazon delivery service that actually drops new batteries. So it's a drone that just takes batteries to them and then takes the old one and flies it away and charges it. Because there was another thing that he was mentioning, saying that they could be just giant Wi-Fi routers, and they're just basically sapping everyone's encrypted data, deciphering it. And I can't remember which one it was recently, but they were saying that's more worrying than, potentially, it's destabilizing the entire United States, because if you have everyone's data, you can literally just wipe out all their money in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a moment, yeah. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was the one I was talking about.
Patterson
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So, yeah.
I just think the drones thing is kind of like get your attention thing on this email. I don't know what these drones are, and I really want to sit and research that and do an episode on those drones. But at the moment, there is no information on what those drones are. So
no, but the American Air Force and the government themselves don't seem concerned with them. They know they're not non-threatening, but they don't know what they are. They can't track them. They can't see them where they are. But Trump came out in an announcement, I think a few weeks back, where he was like, they know what they are. They just don't seem to want to tell the American people, and I don't know why. He came out and said that. So there's something very suspicious going on with that. And for people to just palm that off and just be like, oh, they're just hobbyists. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Someone said that they're the size of like sedan cars. SUVs.
For instance, there was a video that circulated a few weeks back, before Christmas, I think, of 2 girls that were just going on like a walk somewhere in like in a park or something like this, and it was like an SUV-sized drone, and it was just above the treetops. It was if it was plain and it was that low, it would have been humongous. Like, it would have taken up everywhere that they were standing, but it wasn't, and it was shaped like a plane, and it sounded oddly like a plane, but not fully like a plane. It's like it was sounding like it was They said it sounded like it was projecting the sound, not creating it, which was even weirder. And that's one thing that a lot of people have been saying, is that these drones, if they make a noise, it doesn't sound real. Like, it sounds like it's projected, like a Tesla making a fake revving sound. You can tell that it's fake. That's what a lot of people have been saying. And again, I don't believe that they are just they're not hobbyist drones, because then you see news articles of Baltimore police crack drug sting while people have been shipping cocaine on like drones and shit like that. They can find those fuckers easily, but apparently these things that are up in the air for ungodly amounts of hours, they can't seem to track them. I disbelieve it. I absolutely disbelieve it. Because if I went and bought a drone I think it was the New York police as well. They bought their own drone. They had their own drone, or there was a police force that sent their own drone up to go close to one of these things, and it just sapped the battery out of it. It just ruined it. They couldn't communicate with it. And then when it brought it back, it had been drained of all of its energy. And that was the police force came out and made a statement about it. They were like, what does that? Nothing does that. This is our equipment that we use to fight crime with. And they just went it up, it sapped energy, battery deleted, couldn't use it. And it came back to us. What does that? So for Matt to also mention this, yeah, it could be if it's part of the PSYOP, just to add to it, because JJ was saying, I don't see how these two things are linked together. I don't think they're necessarily linked together. His war crime incident and these drone things, I think it's just a topic of discussion. He's responsible for the cover-up and the incident itself, part of it, and also that he knows something about that's going on with these drones.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He must have like that kind of knowledge of what tech they have, but surely he should like gravitic. What's it called? Gravitic propulsion, which is like
gravity propulsion. It's exactly what
anti-gravity, right? It's
anti-gravity.
Yeah, but gravitic, like it seems like a really weird word to use, right?
Is that a word that is used within the science circles? So there could be that too.
Gravitic, or caused by or powered by gravity, hence gravitically. So it's.
I wonder how long ago that was first used. Yeah.
1939.
Right before was.
Of caused by or powered by gravity, hence gravitically.
Yeah.
An adjective. 1939. M. James, Question of South. It was from it's a science fiction. Saying it's
that woman who went missing, she was working on gravitic propulsion.
Yes,
that Ming Lee was she called, or Ming something?
Yep.
She disappeared.
Gary Nolan's aware of that, yeah.
And then she ended up in China or Korea, and then she came back to America and disappeared. Yep. And then apparently she died, but no body.
That's a true story.
Chinese-American physicist Ning Li published a series of controversial papers theorizing about anti-gravity. In 2001, she received a Defense Department contract to fund experimental efforts based on her theories. And in 2004, Ning Li disappeared, prompting a flood of conspiracy theories. Wow, that's an episode.
So the thing is with that, though, is, that happens. That's not just like hearsay.
We're doing that.
Not like people know.
We've got to do that.
Gary Nolan was aware of her. That scientist that's really he's in the UFO community very large. He was like, yeah, we heard about that. That's weird, very very strange. So I think there's a potential possibility that Matt Livelsberger had something to do with these programs, because I think slowly but surely this shit's coming out. It's becoming too much of a subject within the public zeitgeist. I feel like it's, and also if it's a PSYOP, it's just drip feeding that information.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was reading about this propulsion mechanism is that it actually it lengthens gravitational waves. So it doesn't make things faster. It makes the concept of things seem faster. Like the idea that if you were a navigator on this thing, it would almost feel, a bit like in Interstellar, where he leaves and he comes back and he hasn't aged and everyone else has aged loads. Yeah. So obviously, if you reshape the idea of the concept of time, makes it seem like it's going really fast, but it actually isn't. It's just it's just lengthening the from A to B essentially, or shortening from A to B, almost a bit like the folding thing, but.
And that's exactly how Lazar explained it. It manipulated everything around it in front of it. It didn't travel itself. It fell. It's like it fell through space-time with the use of gravity.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Brian Cox I think on one of the Rogans he's done, but anything with Brian Cox, he talks about that time travels is the speed at which time travels is decided on by gravity. So that obviously the further away from Earth's gravity we get, the faster time will appear to travel for us. But for the person that's traveled further away, time will literally move slower. So you'll be like, it'd be 10:39 on their watch, and it'd be like 10:42 on ours.
Yeah.
But they would have left at the same time. So I think if they can stretch gravitational, like the waves of gravity, it seems like it completely defies physics, like the laws of physics.
I mean, I'm just reading here that somebody's asked, is gravitational propulsion possible? And it says there is only one experimental proof that gravitational waves even exist.
Yeah, and that's that's two lasers. There's a laser in like Seattle, and then like two lasers in Seattle and two lasers in Arizona, and they're pointed directly at each other. These two lasers, and they can sense. They're so precise, these lasers, that they can sense They can sense like gravitational waves and shock waves from the Big Bang. That's what Brian Cox says. So yeah, I mean that's the only proof that gravitational waves exist.
These stars. Sorry, there's my brain. These stars.
That's very good. No. Did you ever watch Kunk on Life?
This grain of sand. Sorry, no.
You should watch Kunk on Life because she goes to the Great Hadron Collider and it like talks to him and he's just like,
great.
No.
Is that comedian who just talks about the nerve between the eye and the anus?
Yeah. She kept this one's called about life, and then she kept going, our souls. So our souls. They just like, because you can tell that she's just trying to make the person she's interviewing say our souls.
She's great.
They never do it, and they've just left every time she's gone. So what you're saying is our souls are, and it's just like going, yeah, what's what I'm saying.
I think I first found her on Charlie Brooker's Screenwriter.
Yeah, he writes it. He writes pretty much all of it.
Barry Shitpiece.
Yeah.
She's the manager in Life on the Road, isn't she? She's David Brent's manager. You know
I think so. Yeah,
the one who gets him to pose with a lion.
Yeah, I think
tiger, something like that. So good. I've just shared it one of her videos. It's like, is it true that the eye and the anus share the same nerve? Because every time you scratch your bum, you get this little twitch in your eye. And the guy's just like, no. So good.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. But yeah, they should watch it. I hope they fully release the full interview with Brian Cox because it's a genius. But yeah, so that's, if they are talking that gravatical propulsion is stretching waves of gravity, then the only proof that we have gravitational waves is these two lasers that face each other across America, and they can sense waves of gravity.
I'm so before we wrap this up as well, because it's kind of like the last topic of conversation. Where do you guys stand with then his claim of working in USAPs on UAPs and stuff? I'm in. As you can see with the pictures behind me, I am fucking.
But where does he say? Where did he say that he does that in his letter and his email to Sam?
Hold on. Yeah. So with regards to the short, where he's talking about the
it's the bit you've missed off the notes.
Yeah, it's the most important part.
The important part's missing.
He says something about the box. He says in the box below.
Yeah, in the box.
Which is weird. Why didn't he put that in the email itself? It's just.
Well, what was annoying, because at first when people were coming out with this, when I was taking doing the notes and stuff and the research, where people were saying like, oh, the locations point to this. I was like, there are no fucking locations in this like email, like none. The only thing he cites about anything to do with like aliens or Area 51 is the fact that he goes on about gravitational technology and that China have been utilizing it and that the US have had it like for a very long time. So, but then apparently it's an attachment within the email, and that attachment was the screenshot of the office building with the coordinates 37.2475372, comma dash 115.8155235. I'm saying that.
The thing is with the way that he writes that, it's like when you discover a new band and you tell your friend about it, and your friend's like, "Yeah, I heard of them ages ago." It's like China are actually using them, but America have just had it for ages. It's almost like America have got this tiny little ship. And then, but China are actually using it. It's like, well, we had the idea of the iPhone, but China got there first and basically produced it.
He mentions this here. The USG, United States government, needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere near the East Coast.
It strikes me as very similar to when we last had our discussion with the Grush meeting. It's almost like, we have this weapon and we will use it, but it's like almost threatening. It's like weapons of mass destruction. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it feels very much like.
It sounds like
it just doesn't feel real.
The fact that it can't not exist at this point. I don't understand the reason for these official people mentioning these things. What is the distraction then? What is it for? If this gravitational stuff isn't true, if the UAPs aren't true, if it's not reverse technology that has been weaponized and utilized by the United States government and China, then what is it? Then what is it that these people keep talking about? Why do they keep talking about gravity-based fucking vehicles that are capable of flying?
Is he maybe trying to imply that this is the only way that I can see the segue between the two sections of the email? Is he maybe trying to imply that the war crimes were committed using the technology that he's talking about?
That's what I thought. I don't know.
Because it's almost like a footer. It's like, this is the stuff we've got, and this is the proof. Do some digging on this bit, and then you will find out the truth.
Because when I was first watching it,
I think the whole thing is a cipher. I think there's a cipher in there somewhere.
That's what I was when I was watching the Sean Ryan episode with Rachel. When they touched on his location at Area 50, and then they touched on the war crimes, I sat there and stopped there, and I was like, "Is he saying that there was a weapon that was gravitational based that was used in this UN thing, and that's why it was covered up? Because if the UN actually ended up coming out and saying, United States, we need to have a word with you. What the fuck happened here, and what the fuck is this? Is that what was being implied? I don't know. I can't work that out at this point.
Yeah. Sounds logical.
It's plausible. It's definitely something that can be linked to it. In the sense that was a gravitational-based weapon used in that war crime, and that's why it got covered up. And that's why I can't fucking live with this. We just killed like 40-odd people that were completely innocent, and I'm just told to buy Uncle Sam. Don't worry, mate.
So it was a medical factory.
It was
like a pharmaceutical.
So, yes, pharmaceutical factory, which they thought it was a drug factory.
Right.
I thought I heard about that years ago. I swear to Christ, I remember hearing about a story of the US. But then again, how much friendly fire do they commit in the first place?
Yeah,
any fucking way.
I'm just trying to find the whole email so I can copy paste it into ChatGPT. And then with the coordinates, just see if there's a cipher or a code in there.
So
chances are that ChatGPT and all the stuff's obviously owned by private companies, so they're not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna. Even if they had those ciphers, they're not gonna let them in, are they?
If the cipher would be within the email, just like in Helia, use the coordinates. The coordinates could be the code.
Leaked email.
It's a chin scratch as a whole, like for sure. So I made some little takeaway points as well, like to go along with. So before we start wrapping everything up, the takeaway points that stood out most to me was the identity confirmation. Why didn't Livelsberger's DNA match with his son's, and what does that imply about the identity of the deceased? Signal security number, very significant. How could someone's signal number change post-mortem, and what are the implications? Gravitic technology, is there any verifiable evidence supporting the existence and militarization of such evidence and technology? Is that what the war crime is linked to? Don't know. Area 51 involvement. Can any corroborative evidence be found for Livelsberger's claims about UAP programs at Area 51? Anything in his past employment, whether it led him to there, to which if he was part of a USAP, there wouldn't be any paper trail of him being associated with those things. War crime allegations, were they covered up incidents in Afghanistan? Were there covered up incidents in Afghanistan that need re-examination? Is the weaponization of gravitational propulsion used in that war crime? And the explosion mechanics, was the explosion set up consistent with someone intending to die, or was it staged?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things for me with the explosion is that the explosion definitely takes part underneath his car first. The ignition is there, isn't it? Whereas in all the things I read prior to it, his boot was loaded with explosives. Because if he planned on killing himself, would you really... Because I just don't know how all that happened. For me, it just screams like, I think he went to that hotel. That was just a stopping point because he talks about going to Mexico. Mm-hmm. He left to go get a beer or whatever, came back and his car had been fucking rigged and he's gone to get out, or he's, because they're not, like you said, they're not hard to hack. He's gone to get out and it's just fucking blown up. That's just how most car bombs work, innit? Like, it's not.
And even if you don't need to hack it, if you've got someone on the inside in the Tesla.
So maybe it was made to make people think that it was a musky problem.
Yeah.
And
Musk has
so
gone
bad that they just...
Because let's be honest, who's going to be at the forefront of all this technology anyway? It's probably going to be Elon Musk. Well, he's one of the first companies to make electric cars, and who's
the most quiet about the whole UAP thing? He doesn't say shit about the UAP thing. It does not say a thing.
And when he does talk about like flying cars and stuff, he says that it's never going to happen. He said it's basically impossible. He said your neighbour would kick off when he started your flying car.
Why is someone like him more concerned about British politics right now when he's very much been very vocal about defending America and America this and America that? But then when there's flying vehicles that nobody can find where they're coming from or how they're being operated, he's just, I'm sorry, I was playing Diablo. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Not aware. Fucking idiot. Yeah. He knows something. Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, of course he does. I mean, he's biggest private, is it biggest private aerospace firm now?
I believe so.
Yeah.
SpaceX. And I agree with you as well, JJ, in the sense that he could have been, when he his car had left the Trump hotel first and foremost, could he have been gotten there, or like you said, he had gone somewhere and someone wired something up on the bottom of his car? Yeah, I'd like to think that he's at that hotel because he said he was trying to keep a very public profile because he felt he was being followed in the sense. So it makes me wonder whether I'll go to the Trump Tower because it will look sus as fuck if someone tries to do something to me at the Trump Tower.
So I've just got
the Trump Tower.
I've just got the ChatGPT going through the email because it obviously doesn't have access to it. It instantly went, the 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 feels like it might be a code or a reference to the code.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to work it out for it now. He's trying to do it
for me. If that was anything, that could maybe him be talking to other people within the program. Yeah. That was the experimental thing that he flew, because a black Mustang does sound like something that they would codename for a stealth bomber or something like that. You know what I mean? And the date might be when that was first commissioned or something like that. Because if he's been working at that Groom Lake or wherever, Area 51, he might have been flying or making or doing these, using these experimental vehicles, just like, anyone else, like Bob Lazar said he was working on them.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's, so what is it? What vehicle is it?
2006.
A 2006 black Ford Mustang V6.
Yep. That was allegedly his first car, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's what I don't understand. Because he says,
it's not.
You need to verify me. This is what I did. So people within the industry would go, we're all going, oh, we think it's an actual car. It might be like I say, a Bomber or Mustang.
Yeah.
Fuck, I never even thought about that.
Good.
Look at us. We're not just free delinquents.
We're not. People, some of the comments we get on YouTube are like, oh, clever boys. Like, you do, if you watch the podcast, you do understand that we are complete idiots, and that's the whole point, right? That we're making fun of ourselves. But no, some people in the comments don't get the joke that this is.
Right, okay, so the North American P-51 Mustang is a long-range single-seat fighter bomber used in World War II and the Korean War. What is the ICAO code for the P-51 Mustang? I mean, he wouldn't have been used in that because it's like World War II. Can I drag that into the chat? Yeah. Nope. Did that go in? Nope.
No, not seen anything just yet.
No, might copy paste it.
So we're thinking that could potentially be a little hidden message.
Yeah. Let me just get this. I'm just seeing.
Right. I never even gave that a thought, you know.
Because why would you? If you were working with planes and stuff, or you were trying to talk to other people who worked with planes for verification, why would you be like, "Oh, this was my first car"? Yeah, it's like my first dog's name was so and so. Like, who gives a shit? Like, and especially in the army, when you're in the army, you leave your civil body when you join the army. That's what they always say, don't they? You are nothing until you are whatever he was. I don't know what classification he was. I'm just reading about it, but yeah, just a thought.
Never thought about that as well. Could be.
Yeah, it all just feels a bit like, if you're that much of an expert, why would you get something wrong? Like the verification, you get that wrong straight away. Like it's like the first thing he says, and it's wrong. So it's either intended to be wrong.
Yeah.
So the first flights, not that this really has much significance, but the first people who knew this plane was in action were Rolls-Royce, and it was known as the Mustang X, which I find quite funny. X twist.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But yeah,
I mean, that's a bit tenuous, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we are picking at
pulling at hairs.
I'm
just trying to see if there's it's a long article, so I mean, I'm not going to find anything significant, I don't think. But
all right, so I guess if we put this up now, then what are your opinions on the whole thing, as we usually do each episode? Like, we'll go round table, what you think has happened, and what your stance is. JJ, Ben, you want to go first? Either of you?
I think the email was I think the email was genuine. I think the email was genuine. If I die, this is the information I've got. I think he was probably suicided.
Yep.
And obviously for major clout. I don't know whether it was major clout. It depends which way you come from it. Because if it was just like, oh, this is just the time, you never know. Even if he was staying at Trump Towers or one of the Trump hotels, someone at Trump might have been like, hey, we've got this guy here that he's been touting all this stuff about government intelligence. Do you want to maybe fucking come and sort him out? And 5 minutes later, somebody's come down, put a bomb on his car, and kaboom. So yeah, that's probably where I'm at with it. I'm not sure how I feel about the entire email. I feel like that is probably genuine, but I don't think he suicided. I don't think he killed himself. I think he probably was suicided.
Clinton.
Yeah.
I think everyone's always suicided. So I think that if the email is real, then there's a cipher in there somewhere. It can't be the full email. That email makes no sense, really. It has information in it, but it's not like good information, is it? It's like just like, and then this thing happened. Yeah, it's all a bit It's a bit bitty. It's a bit all over the place. I just want to see if I can copy paste these coordinates, but I can't.
So you want to see them on Area 51 is what you're saying?
No, I want to see the actual coordinates that were shared in the email. Sorry, I know I was in the middle of saying something.
I pasted it in the little chat of our
I've got it. I'm just going to use this now. I'm still trying to do this cipher. In case there is a cipher. Who knows?
Exactly.
Got a feeling. So I think if it was that there's more information in that email.
Oh, hang on a second.
Whoa.
Oh.
So
Breaking news.
Mustang had a car in 2006 and Roush styled the engine at P51 engine. Hang on a second. That could just be a massive coincidence and they could have just named the engine after the bomber, but it's called the 2016 Mustang Roush P51 engine. So maybe he is using that as code for that bomber.
Maybe.
Just a thought. Can't find anything else about it.
So Ben, you think if the email's real, you believe he's also been? Oh no! So well, yeah, I won't plant seeds. Go on.
Yeah. So if this is just what I've got from chatting about it and just thinking like, how could this mean something? If that email was sent, it has to be a message. It has to be more than the actual contents of the email, if that makes sense. Yeah. It must mean something to someone else, because he didn't care who he spoke to. He just wanted to get it out to someone, right? Yeah. And this feels like he's just gone, right, this is information. Someone will work this out. Like someone I know will work this out. Or he's a fucking lunatic.
And that's why he went.
He's a fucking pit. He's got PTSD. He's gone off the rails. He's put some fireworks in the back of a Cybertruck. Then he rented off Churro, blown it up at Trump Towers to create that iconic image of a burning Tesla outside Trump Towers, Trump Hotel.
Right. So, but which are you leaning towards, though?
Why I'm leaning to is that I think that what we're being used as users of the internet is they're using us to kind of big up this as a PSYOP. I think whoever is in charge of this, if it was him or whoever, the government or whoever, the military industrial complex, I think it's definitely military. I think we're being used to big up the conspiracy or build a PSYOP that China have got these mental drones and they could use them at any time, and we need to go to war with China.
Just one thought, which none of us have even skirted over. Obviously, I found this P51 Mustang, Area 51. Didn't even
pick that up. My ears did not even move. Ugh.
So I'm just looking at that. I was like, 51, Area 51.
Synchronicity going on.
Yeah, and he's saying he works at Area 51. So he's possibly saying that he flew this plane or a plane of a similar caliber at Area 51.
Because there would be that information would be something that's kept there, wouldn't it? What is that person operating? Oh, he's operating that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking hell. Yeah, never thought about that.
And the reason why that plane was so special was because it had one of the best ranges, which could translate into battery power, and it had the best maneuverability of any plane at that time.
Drone maneuverabilities, and of the UAPs having advanced methods of movement as well.
I think you've just tricked yourself into finding a connection.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up inside my car on fire with a perfectly formed ID. At a Tesla charging station.
I just think that if that email is real, then it's not the full information. There's more to that email than meets the eye.
Yep.
I think the stuff that the police are putting out is bullshit. I think that I just think if they have found a phone in there and they've been able to get into it, then he's not going to be giving them the information he wants. because he doesn't trust the government. He said that, right? Yeah. He wants to get this information out.
The guy who designed it was German American,
and that guy has been based in Germany this whole time.
A lot of scientists over a lot of designs after World War II and whatnot.
Paperclip, baby. Operation
Paperclip. Germans bloody everywhere over here working at Area 51.
Yeah. All's forgiven. Take us to the moon.
Yeah.
What about you, Dean? What do you think?
I believe a person that goes about using proton mail and Signal wouldn't be leaving a suicide note on a phone in a car that would end up just being melted. I believe the email is real, and that after you mentioning the car and the plane and this, that, the other, not necessarily that the plane is the message, but Ben made a really good point in saying that the email seems like it's all over the place, that there must be more to it. It means something to someone. I think he's still alive. And that's me just because I like things getting exciting like that. But I think he's still alive, and that the Signal security number change is something to do with it.
What was the guy called?
Matt Livelsberger.
This again might just be coincidence because it's not his full name. But the guy who invented that plane went on to go work for the National Aerospace Association's president, James Kindleberger.
Yeah, Burger. I think we're reaching there.
They've both got B's in their name.
They both like burgers.
It reminds me of my favourite Spaced. One of my favourite things that happened in the TV show Spaced. He goes, there's a letter there for you. It's from your dad. It's open. Yeah, we both got eyes in our name. It's like, I opened it because we both have eyes in our name. It's like, it's a letter. It's for you. It's from your dad.
Amazing.
I don't know if he worked at Area 51, because to me it just sounds like he's just, I worked in a unacknowledged secret access program about UAPs. It doesn't really and I'm like, it does sound like a lot of the time I believe anything, but if there's barely any information around it, like for instance, those recent images that got leaked from that alleged person that was in Immaculate Constellation. And they were like, I'm giving it to this YouTube content creator because I've been following you for a while, blah, blah, blah. And then they release black and white FLIR images that are no better than what have already been released by Louis Elizondo and Chris Mellon. So him just giving a bland explanation, I worked at these coordinates on a USAP for UAPs. I'm kind of like, I could have.
Yeah, I was going to say, anyone could say that.
Yeah. I think the coordinates going to Area 51 and Groom Lake just feels so on the nose.
Right, yeah.
That's what makes you think that is code. That's like part of the code.
So, yeah. Also, but what I was going to say, the thing about it is people were saying that someone that works in those fields, and if that's their OPCEB, I think it was, like their operations, OPCEN, which is Operations Center, people were saying for someone to operate things from a distance, they would need a satellite dish close by that's of an absurd size. And there's a satellite dish, but he could know that and have just that location himself. Oh, look, there's a building. I'll just put that next to there because there's a satellite dish. People who have some intelligence might put those two things together. Is it a lead off? I don't know. But I believe there's more into the email. However, I would need to hear more other stuff that's potentially linked to him to be able to sit there and be like, he was working in these fields and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There has to be other information involved, a pass card or something like that just happened to be found burnt with him.
Well, they found that he's military.
His military ID, but that's not a clearance card for Area 51. It's just an identification of that he's in the military. I just think I believe who he is. I believe who he is. I believe that he is a part of that war crime and the cover-up. I believe that also because it's reported on the UN's website, and I wouldn't put it past the US government to be able to cover something up like that. I want to believe, so I believe the email's real. I believe the war crime shit's real. I need to see more shit to believe that he knows a lot about the gravitational stuff and why he knows that. It's just like, I worked in a USAP. That's why I know it. They're gonna need something more than that, man.
Yeah.
Gonna need something more than that. People had that about Bob Lazar for so many years, whereas he sat there and said, when the entrance to get in measured your bones and there was a scanner, blah, blah, blah. And Jeremy Corbell, whether you love him or hate him, done enough research that he managed to locate a guy that worked on security, and he provided that thing that Bob Lazar said existed. And the guy was like, yeah, we actually used one of them. Here's the manual. Like, there needs to be something of that. Oh, in that building, he said that there was this in there. Or here's a picture of him next to that hangar that's just off the right to it. Like, here's an old photo that I had with him on the base. Like, I need to see something along those lines, because all he's just sat there and said to me is, I worked at this pinpoint here. Like you said, Area 51 on the nose. I need to see more. I do think he's alive still as well. I think he's still alive.
You think he's alive?
I think
if he is alive, we're never going to hear from him again, unless he ends up doing like a Snowden type interview,
or in my opinion, or he gets too thirsty for attention. Not like, oh, look at me, but watching all of this unfold from I don't know, a motel or wherever he is, and he just slips up or something, or he slips up somewhere. Like, I don't know. I want it to be like a movie, because so far the whole story's unfolded like a fucking script for like a film.
Yeah, it would be really good if he just showed up on like Sean Ryan video calling in from Russia or something.
Yeah.
Like, we've got him.
Yeah.
So Jesus is. I've been reading the Bible.
But yes, I believe he's alive still.
So, again, not chasing this tale for too long, but there was a fighter jet, the lightest of its kind, commissioned in 2006, called the Cessna Citation Mustang.
There you go. So maybe that was the first thing he flew, if he ever flew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took its first flight on 2005 and was fully commissioned in 2006.
Or maybe he worked on that. That was the first project that I worked on when I ended up at Area 51. Fit that jet with one of these things. Maybe. But yeah. There we go, chaps.
Let us know in the comments what you think. If you agree with any of us, if you think there's some kind of connection between the flight, the name of his car and the plane, like JJ thinks.
Yeah,
if you think there's a cipher, if you could break that cipher, put it in the comments below. We want to be the people that break that story. Because we're definitely going to do another episode in the next 12 months.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting point of view to say that the email means more than it actually seems to on the surface. Yeah. I'm going to go with that too.
Cool. But make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already subscribed, because we're at 917 subscribers. We need 983 subscribers to then be able to get our hours up.
Yeah, get the monetization.
Get the monetization, maybe, and then maybe we could maybe make some money from this stuff.
We definitely won't leave it as long as we have done as well.
I want to do this Ning Lee. I want to do the Ning Lee thing.
Ming Lee thing next up, then. Yeah,
Ning Lee. Don't be racist. It's Ning Lee.
I think Ming Lee's a character from.
Stop saying the N-word.
Ming Lee. I'm sure it's from Arrested Development.
No, it's Ning Lee. It is.
No. Not Arrested Development. Drawn Together is what I was thinking of. The really fucking.
Was Drawn Together.
Ever seen Drawn Together? Holy shit! One of the most edgiest cartoons ever created. Wild. Nothing. I can't mention it on here. Can't mention any of it on here.
Oh, I think I might have seen. Is it on? Yeah, I've seen Drawn Together before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have seen that. But yeah, I think. You're thinking of Anyang from Arrested Development. Anyang. Okay. Anyang.
Great show.
Right.
Anyway, gotta go.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Make sure you subscribe, comment, etc., etc., etc. Bang.
See you later, Bear.
Bye. Oh, bye. Research K-Curve.
Research what?
K-curve.
K-curve? What? K?
It's someone said it to us once on one of our podcasts, and we there's loads of people on our Discord that say research K-curve now.
Oh God.
K-curve.
It's from a long time ago.
What happens when it comes to it?
In the
Think, oh, maybe they did. So in the back, there is a
light brown
cool story.
We're not the first. We definitely won't be the last. We'd like to welcome you